Welcome to Spiritual Dessert Trews episode 120 for Russell Brands and other people. It's the continuation from yesterday because I got cut off. Mainstream science will tell us that while DNA involves construction rules that affect different sequences, the dictionary of DNA does not follow Zipf's law, which every other natural language follows. Interesting. Okay, so it seems that there's a number of scientists, and throughout the thousands of years and all the spiritual adepts, they claim that light and sound alter our DNA and directly influence our biology. DNA is a type of language, albeit a complex one. Computer simulations and purely biological approach to understanding the language have failed. However, in the same way that language fails to describe ascended states. So it's beyond words, literally. So even though DNA has structure, it's not a language. I heartily disagree. If you ever watched a musician who was skilled in playing his or her instrument technically to absolute perfection, but somehow lost the emotional language which is necessary to convey an ovation-inspired performance, then you understand that stringing together a perfect phrase or sequence of notes does not account for an entirely separate and subtle language that speaks to the human heart and mind. It is the technical perfection of the right rhythms and notes paired with heart and passion which bring us to our feet. Similarly, DNA can be strung together in a typical set of A, T, Z, G, but it is the junk DNA which might decide whether your cells cause you to develop cancer or be gifted with the ability to see clairvoyantly. Interesting. So it talks about linguistics and DNA, that it does not follow similar patterns or rules of human language, but this is the most interesting information by a long shot. They're talking about beautiful music and the ability to alter it. They expose each section of DNA to infrared light and measured the wavelength it absorbed and therefore determined its sound frequency. What it made was hauntingly beautiful music. Some of the combinations of frequencies, it sounds alive to me. Also, they took the rings of a tree and they made it into a record, just played it. And it was this amazing, sound like a symphony. It's a tree ring, tree rings. Unbelievable. Nature. Is it in order? Sure seems like it's got a very, very complex order and passion and music. It goes back to talking some more about diseases, parasites, bacterial, fungal infections. This discovery suggests that every living organism has its own unique resonant frequency, and that by subjecting the body to electrical currents that target specific pathogens, diseases, and ailments can be neutralized and destroyed without pharmaceuticals or invasive procedures. Furthermore, acupuncture, the ancient Chinese system of medicine that works directly with the body's energy conduits, has offered tangible healing benefits to millions over many centuries, has also recently been validated by scientific research. These examples collaborate to a degree by a subtle energetic system that can be manipulated by the application of sound, light, and intention. For one to understand this experiential terms, however, it is necessary to cultivate the sensitivity to detect and direct this energy. But for many, this process of cultivation is simply too demanding and too methodical to be assimilated as a habitual part of daily life. Most people simply do not have the patience in our fast-paced environment to achieve the awareness of this, scientists included. Shamanism meets science. When science is making exciting advances in understanding our quantum universe, the timeless healing modalities of shamanism have been of late forcing their way into the popular conversation about healing and spiritual development. In fact, shamanism may offer us the best example of how to use, oh my gosh, there was a fellow they showed. He healed somebody right there, right in front of the monitor. The tumor shrinking right on the monitor as they were doing this prayer. But it was more than prayer. It's the belief, the resonance, seeing that person as completely well. And I've done this numerous times. I don't mean to be a healer. It's just, I like to heal. Since I was little, I always knew that there was a power coming out of my eyes, that I could send love through my eyes. I could change an entire room. I was a little girl in school, and I knew that there was power in my eyes. Such an odd thing to think of when you're tiny, but I already knew. Interesting, the light. So talking about other things like plants or medicines like ayahuasca, these things are very alkaloid, so being alkaline. they take away the acid. It's one of those default things where if you're not acid, you're more alkaline. It seems that ayahuasca can also assist in curing cancer, because cancer and all diseases seem to come only when the body is at a high acid content. So that comes from stress, that comes from sadness, that comes from any negative emotion, or all of these unfortunate toxins and chemicals that are sensitive. Balances our beautiful homeostasis. And homeostasis is that phenomena that we will balance ourselves. And so you don't want to be on too many different medications, because you're throwing that balance off so far that you're going to have to really combat not only the disease, but the stress of the medications in order for you to come back to yourself. So I was talking about balances. Mental balances, chemical balances. That's another thing. We are vibrational frequency, and we're energy, and we are light, but we are also chemistry. And so you want to make sure you're having enough things like magnesium or vitamin D and vitamin B8 in the winter especially, so that you're able to get what is missing from the lack of sun and sunlight. Light does affect us. Going back to tuning instruments like the bell that I read the other day, it actually purifies and cleanses and heals the body, the mind, and the soul. It's a good idea to ring them. It seems that the ayahuasca induces the death of some of the cancer cells. Green tea does the same thing, but doesn't give you the same effect. A bit of a conclusion here. It's a bit of a heated topic because there's mostly theory, and it's very difficult because this is outside the realm of words, outside the realm of a lot of the provability that we're able to do. That's why scientists label things like the rest of your DNA junk DNA, because they just don't understand. But it doesn't make it junk. Actually, that's the magical part. That's the part where we can be anything. That's that 95%. You know, we're only using like less than 5% of our intelligence. That's so ridiculous. We have so much more intelligence within us. We need to tap in. Maybe we could all be Teslas. Maybe this planet could be really amazing. Maybe we could love with more than our hearts, our souls, and our minds, but with the entire force of the universe. What would love be like then? Pleasant dreams. On that positive, beautiful note, love you.